That's Ron Johnson talking, right?
They're trying to hide the data.
He's good. We like
They're not
him.
making all the data available, but we can just tell you from our experience that the temperatures have changed quite a bit. What was super striking to us was the footage for Standing Rock in November. And people were out there in T-shirts in November. And I can tell you, there is just no way you would be out there in T-shirts in November in the 90s.
No way could you be out in a T-shirt.
Sure.
No way.
Must have been like
It's Fargo, North Dakota, in the winter.
But
Not for too long
it's
yet, couldn't.
just like, and the data that we do have is rather striking. Now, this is January 2017. And this data is being brought to us by U.S. Climate Data, and we're just going to look at January 2017.
Testing.
Now,
This
so
thing
we
on
contrast that.
You may not hear.
That's as far as they go back on this. Now, in 2011,
It's one of our
6
favorite
years ago,
channels.
if we're looking at the high temperatures, we're just going to do
Don't know the name.
scientific studies online. But if you look at the high temperatures, the high max, anything that's above freezing. So here, January 28th, we have 37 degrees. January 20th, we have 30 degrees. And January 24th, we have 32 degrees. So we got about 3 days.
We have an average of like
3 days
30
above
degrees.
30 in 2011 in January. And if we jet up to 2017.
But yeah, you can get any average temperature you want depending on your time
We're saying, oh, it's super cold
right?
this winter, right?
So that's easy to manipulate the data.
I
I think that's his
beginning of
point.
January, so we
He's
saw
trying to make that, huh?
they're -4. I mean, this is nothing for Fargo temperatures. Nothing.
Fargo?
But here, mid-January, all of a sudden, it started spiking. 36 degrees, 39 degrees, 39
Well,
degrees,
what the heck do you mean?
36 degrees, 36 degrees, 33 degrees, 30 degrees. One day at 24, and 30 degrees, 30 degrees, 30 degrees, 41 degrees.
What did you trying to say?
41 degrees.
We went from 2011 where we had 3 days above 30 degrees for high temperature.
Okay, so maybe there is a gradual warming trend. Well, it is springtime.
No, there's a word for that. It's called terraforming.
Snapshot.
Oh, yeah?
But the trend is clear. I mean, we can see it easily with our own eyes. Everywhere we go, we live in the mountains right now. And we asked the locals, how things were back then.
Yeah, I haven't ruled anything out. I'm not ruling it out, but
it's just, rain and sleet. And
It's
so we're seeing
terrifying.
this worldwide. And while some people are saying, oh, blah, 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 obviously, the trend is clear.
you may not be able
It
to hear
definitely
this.
seems like we're being boiled like frogs, and they're hiding that from us. Why would they be hiding that from us?
We can only hope that
it's just pure economics. They don't care.
How you doing out there? I see there's 0 viewers. That's good. Because,
but the trend is quite clear. Now we want to bring up another very disturbing piece of footage here. Let's just play this.
It's going to last for many days. This is the whole of the Bay of Biscay here with Britain on the right.
These are existing ships, not the new geoengineering ships.
Yeah, these are not special ships, they're just ordinary ships. Each of them is generating quite a large area of white, which lasts.
Okay, so in this picture, they're showing a geoengineering conference. They're not hiding geoengineering anymore at all. We had a Harvard professor just a few months ago talking about the need to introduce sulfuric acid into jet fuel so that it can make sulfate. But this, what would probably be confused as chemtrails, is actually from ships. All of these little streaks are from ships out at sea. And there's already a huge active program in geoengineering worldwide, not only with the airplanes, but with the ships as well. So there seems to be the struggle of this temperature change. And what I would tell people here is pay attention to the chemtrails that you are seeing, and notice how they're targeting the path of the sun. If they weren't doing this, they're probably doing this for various reasons.
Did you hear that? The chemtrails are targeting the path of the sun. I never heard that before.
I have.
It's
and
so
the
cloudy.
one guy explained it.
How would we know?
The one guy explained it. He said that no, they're not really targeting the sun. Actually, what happens is that in the evening when the sun goes down, all the particles gravitate towards the light of the sun. They want to gravitate towards it. So that's why at sunset you can go out and look and go, where are all the chemtrails? And pretty much it blocks out all the sunset because all the chemtrails have come down to match where the sun is at for the extreme of it.
Funny how that happens, huh?
Yeah.
But one of the factions they're spraying along the path of the sun, and if they're doing that consistently, it's to block out
turn it up a little
rays as much as possible to mitigate the temperature change. Now, looking at the numbers that we've seen
They
displayed
probably
everywhere
won't come
worldwide,
out
imagine how much
audible.
worse they would be if there wasn't this active program of spraying
What's
day
the,
in and day out worldwide. In
Exactly.
these pictures, this competition pictures is worldwide. This is not a local problem. This is a global problem. Everywhere, everybody's reporting chemtrails, and everybody's concerned. They're looking up, they're seeing these chemtrails, like what's going on. But if you see how they're spraying, they're targeting their sprays along the path of the sun. That leaves you with the conclusion that they are doing
Yeah,
it to
I found
mitigate
this on his
temperature.
channel and thought it was
And
too
so you have
interesting.
to ask
It
yourself
is.
seriously,
It is.
how much warmer would the climate be right now if they weren't actively spraying every single day?
Yeah,
right,
Not
how
only
much
would the
warmer
temperatures
or
be
cooler
where
might
they
it
are
be?
now,
How do you
it
know?
would be so much worse.
really.
No,
How
either
can they
way.
say it's fact when they're geoengineering the fact? They're not stopping it. The heating up of our planet. They're not stopping it by the chemtrails. No.
Who's in charge of that?
Now, some people will argue
Shit,
that this
you know,
is in fact,
what? Must be the ones that are getting all that huge budget every year,
but I've
right?
experienced a chemtrail shadow on a very hot summer's day, and you can feel the difference. You can feel the difference.
The
The fact that
Department of
they're
Dad,
spraying along
or
the
whatever
path
they
of the sun
call it.
tells you
Dead
that they're
Frank.
doing this to mitigate the heat. And so it would be realistic to say
right?
that if there wasn't this
Frank,
chemtrail,
Frank.
temperatures would be 2 or 3 times higher on average than they are right now in terms of the change, the overall temperature change. So instead
Wow.
of days where we're sweltering at 100 degrees in some places, it probably be like 140 or something like that.
No.
If they're saying if there were no chemtrails, it'd be 40 degrees higher everywhere, at
But
least.
also the
It would be 40 degrees warmer
propaganda campaign.
Yep.
if there were no
If there
chemtrails.
were
Well,
no
that's
chemtrails.
at best that's kind of somebody's wild guess.
And if you look at the
Right?
trends, if you look at what's going on,
Yeah.
again, globally in terms of.
I don't think it's debatable.
But
There's
if you looked at it globally,
spraying something
the heat,
up
It
there,
looks like they're terraforming the planet. And it looks like that they've been able
and
to
it,
take over
yeah,
certain
who's
industries or promote certain industries.
I'd like to ask
Very
Ron
quickly.
Johnson where he gets his information and whoever is doing this.
Well-
Hey, have you seen The Arrival? Because when they showed the global picture of how they were warming the Earth, for the extraterrestrials, how they were warming the Earth. The program that he's showing right now about where the heat influxes raise and lower and like a wind, right? If you see a wind graph go across the world, they're showing it in heat fluctuations, and it's exactly like The Arrival. Yeah,
Again, all
I
the
don't
cars
know
over
what it
there could be
means.
running on water. They could be running.
Seems like
that's another
could be
thing.
running on electricity.
If they weren't so
That's
interested
technology
in money,
over 50 years.
all the cars
They
could be running
all
on
the
water,
power plants
not
what's
on
referred to as
not on
boom
gas,
which is
fossil
like a
fuels.
hybrid generator. And there would be no need for nuclear, coal, or any of these other things. But the fact that these old technologies are still around is telling you that they're there for nefarious purposes because they're obsolete.
They're there to
Yep.
destroy.
And this kind of brings us back to the Fukushima story as well. Many
hey,
people
we have a
say
viewer. How are
it
you?
wasn't the
Sorry about the
accident that we think it was.
sound issues. I can't hear it. That's my issue.
But you think that Fukushima really wasn't an accident?
At the seafloor, to instigate the tsunami and so on and so forth, and just to make it look like an accident. But ever since, radiation levels have spiked, and now it's come out that the radiation levels are still much worse than they've ever been.
No, that's going to be
And now they're finding a
inaudible,
hole,
mostly.
where the
I might as
core
well just-
melted into it. It's virtually a China syndrome over there on 3 different reactors, and all the cores melted. It was a full meltdown.
All the cores melted right through the floor of the thing.
But it was
They're
a full
going right,
meltdown on
what,
2 or 3
through
different
Earth?
reactors. And all of
Wow.
that stuff just went out into the atmosphere, into the oceans, and it's so bad that if you look at the NextRat network from the EPA, most of the cities are sitting at a radiation level, an ambient radiation level that is above the evacuation level. Most of the big cities would have to be
Oh my God.
evacuated.
You should go look at them today. What are they reading today? Doesn't matter what it was 2 months ago.
Oh, well, these levels are so
Right?
high because of
Yeah,
technology.
I don't even know where to look for that.
And so we're actually being attacked on various different fronts, not only through the chemical weather, not only
But we
through
can
the
look
climate,
into
but
that.
also through the wireless technology.
Real-time radiation readings
That's just
the ramifications
air.
are being hidden
on our,
from people. But this looks like
on our continent here.
We're not even talking about all
and the
of
reason
the
that this brings us back to the
electricity
title of
that's
our
running through
broadcast
the air,
is because
all the
imagine
Wi-Fi.
that you are a traveler, from a different reality or perhaps a different dimension. We aren't going to not going to get too much into that. But imagine that
Well,
you're just
anyway,
a
she had
ship
to
or
run
two,
Johnson
maybe
video.
1,000 of you, 2,000 of you.
It turns out it's an old one, but
And
it
you come onto a planet
seems
like
to have to
ours
do with
that's got, nuclear
climate.
weapons and 7 billion people. And you know that you can't, you don't want to destroy the
Something,
planet.
I don't know
you want
what.
to, you want to be able to take it over. And you know that you're not going to win a battle, an invasion. So how do you take over the planet? Well, you start building relationships. You start making exchanges, technology for resources, for perhaps protection, or safe haven, or something of that nature.
Mm,
And then you start rolling out your
Something is
plans, knowing
going
that
on.
this technology will lead to
Nefarious.
scenarios, like the scenarios
Indeed.
that we've seen. And so to us, it seems like this is a calculated maneuver.
Call me naive, but I don't see why we shouldn't be friends with the Russians, the Russian people. Now, I don't know about the
That seems to
government.
make more sense than many of the other conclusions that have been reached on the situation. Especially given what we do know about
Some people can't
what happened
seem
in
to
Roswell
distinguish from the government of a given country and its people.
We've done
You know what I
numerous reports on
mean?
that as well as many other channels. But there are many strange things going on in the world today. And I guess you just have to expect the worst and hope for the best. And if we're expecting the worst, this is the situation. This is what we're looking at. And the data is rather conclusive.
Yeah. What's he,
As well
what
as,
does it mean? What is he saying?
evidence,
I don't understand.
So now the question is, well, what can we do about
There's
this
a ship.
situation? Well, I think
There's a ship that flies like a rocket ship, a plane, whatever. And from the nose of it, it shoots out a black beam. I don't know, miles. I don't know how you tell miles up there. Miles out. And then the plane that shoots the white cloud comes and follows that black line.
I've
Have you ever
seen
seen
that before.
a
I've
chemtrail
seen,
yet with a black cloud in it?
yeah, once I
I
did.
did on the way home with Helen the other day, and it was amazing to see the black line in the sky and the white cloud following it.
Yeah, I
And
saw
I
the same
wanted to
thing
tell her,
many
look
years
at the
ago.
black line, and look, there's a plane like following it or
I
something.
believe
Look.
it was 2011 when I saw the very same thing you're talking about.
But I couldn't tell Helen because she would have. Her answer, I know, would have been, it's
What?
smoke.
Yeah, right. It takes a lot of background. You can't even begin.
But we need to start
Mostly
having
with
honest
most
discussions
people.
about what's happened
Where do you
to,
begin,
our
right?
planet.
Well,
Wow,
Pass it
that's
off as,
crazy.
not dismissive,
don't
as some sort
start
of,
it, but
some sort of agenda. It's more attacks.
how far back do you want to go, right?
As much as they care about the environment and the concentrations of toxic chemicals in the atmosphere. And I think that's where the discussion should be at. First and foremost the is the pollution, is the particulate matters, it's the toxic technology that is being used without full consideration of the side effects and the ramifications. And I think instead of dismissing the evidence, which is fairly conclusive in terms of what's going on in the atmosphere and the temperatures, instead of dismissing this evidence, I think we need to address this evidence. And I find that there are many independent media outlets that have ties to petrochemical.
I heard somebody say air quality is actually much better than it used to be. I don't believe that.
Hell no.
But then I wouldn't know because I don't have a way to take
Everything
readings.
else on this particular issue, I feel that they're doing a huge disservice to our
And we can
species
go
and
look,
ours.
you know, like I said,
And so
radiation, we can look for that
Of these,
with good luck. If
to
you
have
would
a
really
discussion,
find it,
with us on these issues, because they
even
frame
if it was
each and every
there.
time as a one-sided argument, and
I know.
they've gone out of their way to bring this issue
Anyway,
up
we
over
want
and
to
over and over again, and portray it as something that doesn't exist. And either they've got, either they have a financial conflict of interest, or perhaps they are in fact part of the plot and are collaborators for the takeover of the planet.
That's right.
And it's not just
It's a
the British
takeover,
that
an
are,
invasion,
that are
or
working,
not
against
invasion
this
necessarily, but
in terms of for the British press,
a takeover.
elements of the British press and elements of British
Indeed.
society. We have this issue in every country as well. And so, this is a problem that needs to be addressed and looked at seriously instead of.
That's Ron Johnson, if you can hear him.
Surely,
Find him on YouTube. This is like from almost a couple months ago. I don't recall hearing it.
And it's not going away. And I think everybody can understand why this is happening.
Anyway,
And
yeah,
people that would say that this is
that's
some sort of
just
natural
what was
trend,
playing. Uh,
is completely ignoring.
we were talking about air quality
that is being,
and the climate and whatnot.
And it doesn't go anywhere. And so I'd like to know where they think this pollution goes. Do they think it drifts off into space? Do they think the moon is supplying us with fresh oxygen? And I love it how they say, oh, well, CO2 is good for the plants. Well, sure. Well, I'm sure the plants are happy. But what about us people that need oxygen? All of the animals that need oxygen. In fact, when you look at the canary in the coal mine here, and you look at the despecies or the extinction rates of different species, it's rather significant. And
Alarming.
they're saying about 60% of the world's wildlife population are threatened to go extinct. And I'm not sure, when's the last time any of you saw like one of the wild animals that we used to see on National Geographic or something? Perhaps you'll see a gopher or a bird or a deer. But when's the last time you saw anything else that was part of nature? You just don't see it anymore. And we can tell you this from personal experience. Well, we live pretty much in a national park.
Even bugs, we don't see nearly as many bugs as we used to see.
But you really just don't
Particularly
see
at night, and they really come
and
out.
the trend is alarming. And what's even more alarming is the threat to our closest relative in terms of animals, and that's the primates. The primates are going out of style, literally. They're becoming extinct. And these are canaries in the coal mine. The world is being is undergoing some sort of process that people need to wake up to, because this looks like terraforming. It doesn't look like anything else.
If we were aware of it, how could we do anything about
He
it?
said it looks like what?
Terraforming.
Yeah.
And while it's nice to be making money, when every fish has died, when every wildlife has died, and all the rivers.
What you gonna buy with all your money?
And in fact, it's pretty much that situation. You probably wouldn't dare eat fish from your local river anymore if you knew what was in it. You probably wouldn't eat fish from the Pacific if you knew what was in it because of pollution. And you probably, and it's becoming like that for many of the things that we eat. And it's even worse when you think of the industrial farming. I think that they have to into the food just to keep it alive. Dinner is illegal in most other countries. But we're seeing this trend in all sorts of different species, primates, bees, and so on and so forth. And it's just an unsustainable situation. And it's going to come to track again if we're going to wake up to this issue. And I know many conservatives out there have never been big fans of environmental issues. But I would just tell you that you cannot be pro-life and think that ends after birth. Being pro-life is all the way through. And without a sustainable, clean environment, we aren't going to have a fruitful, healthy life. And it's not so much for our generation, but for the next generation that can help. So I think we really have to put selfishness aside and be a true situation. Look at the situation that looks good, what the long-term aspects are.
Yeah, sorry, this one kind of got
right now. They
I
can't
mean,
even go outside without some sort of protective respiratory gear. They have to have their homes hermetically sealed, and they have to use some sort of filtration system, air filtration system, just to survive. It's already like that in many parts of the world. It may not be like that outside of LA County, but in the United States, but it is like that in many parts of the world, and it's getting worse. And in case you're wondering what you're looking at here, this is an overlay of different chemicals in the atmosphere. And basically what you're seeing here is the European continent with the overlays of methane, nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide, and the like. And you can see these hotspots that are consistently, basically an entirely different environment. And in Europe, the big trouble spots are between Paris, Brussels, and London. This little triangle, if you can imagine that. And it just seems like that it's hospitable to other forms of life. And it's becoming inhospitable to human life. And this is the transition you get, and you can see it quite clearly.
the terraforming.
So it's a different world than these hospitals.
Oh my God.
Heard of.
And in any case, it's unsustainable, it's dangerous. The science is clear. The harmful effects of 2.5 in the life, which is particular matter, 2.5 size, which is well description for all sorts of chemicals.
So what would it be like if they stopped chemtrailing for 2 weeks?
And so, what Air pollution right now is the third biggest killer, and in developed nations, there's all sorts of respiratory problems as well, cancer, and this situation is getting much worse. It's not getting better. And so even if you're not convinced about the temperature data, you should be rather concerned about the chemical weapons because nobody
Right. We
is
should probably all be wearing
spared in this
gas masks for
and this
now.
is just another way that they're depopulating people, as well as through the food and the water and everything else. And so it just seems like there's this huge attack on every front on the human species, and you just have to wonder what's behind it.
What's behind it?
So either you're going to say, well, it's extraterrestrials, or you're going to say, it's in terms of what we see in the Bible, and we're dealing with interdimensional demons and the like that are at the helm of these corporations and at these governments that are making these decisions. But in any case, it's a full-blown occupation. Terraforming has begun, and the threat is very real. If you're just joining us, we would have you obviously feel patient and wait until this broadcast we will cover.
Well, in any case, I'm glad we caught a little bit of that. That's Ron Jensen. Sorry, I was just playing. I wasn't planning on stepping on anybody's toes or anything,
But this to us is one of the most frightening images.
But we like that guy. He's good. That guy.
Being ejected from this rocket.
Let's see if I can find a link to his
very well documented video.
channel.
Claim that it's fake news or Photoshop. And there's still no explanation for it. Some people will say, well,
This whole thing might just be no good at all. We better try it again.
We've actually seen this in person.
Sorry, you guys. I'm gonna.
As they come into the land, these mysterious black beings.
We're gonna have to try it again.
Not just the black chemtrails, where some people may say, oh, well, perhaps that's